Here's another high score! Oh, well, it's about time you showed up, you sussy bakas. For those of you who don't know me, allow me to introduce myself. I am the Royal Blood Rebel, the gangster of love, the subspace emissary, the little purple-headed firecracker, the merc with a mouth, the ace of the CLON, the woman of 1,005 nicknames, the first one being Armbar, Lodestar Luminous. And from the last time you saw me, I'd looked like I'd just crawled out of a sewer drain after a year and a half of eating nothing but dead rats and rancy, nasty gator meat. And I smelled like brute force's locker room and whatever the hell Nicole Watterson comes home to at night. I think his name's Richard or some shit. I don't know. But anyway, I also acted more coked out than a pro wrestler from the early 70s and laughed like a white girl at a bar getting drunk for the very first time in her life. Yeah, so suffice to say, it certainly wasn't a moment I look back at very proudly. I mean, there have been worse moments in my life, but I digress. Let's not touch on that subject. The subject we gotta touch on is where I am now, a couple months removed from said moment. Now, judging by how I looked at that time, you'd expect me to spin a tale of how I crawled back into some hobbit hole crack house and spent all this time turning more and more into Gollum as the time passed. But the story I have to share is actually a bit more serious than that. One I really can't retell without being dead serious to you. You see, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. When I made that challenge, I had every intention of just laying down come Absolution. At best, I would just lay down and get pinned with a single foot on me. At worst, I'd get the absolute shit beat out of me and laid to rest right next to Squidward's hopes and dreams. Sucks, I know. That's almost as bad a way to go out than Joel got in Last of Us 2. Yeah, I know. I said I was going to be serious, but this is my promo. You want it cut differently? Do it yourself. But I digress. Really, I was just so tired of being tired. I was exhausted from constant misery and hell. Truthfully, I just wanted it to end. So, I figured just giving up without a fight was my only way out. But as I sat in my motel room that night, no one but my little cat Scraps with me, I got something I was not expecting. I was bombarded with texts and even some attempted calls from various friends and family. So much concern, so much worry, so much love. And what did I do? I sat there and I just read them all. No replies or calls, I just read the texts. It wasn't until the very last text that all changed. Everything changed. It was a message from my mother, and all it read was simply, "Call me, please." I'd been avoiding my mother for nearly half of a year, and that is no fault of her own, mind you. I've always been close to my mom. From the moment I was born, I was her little Joey, the little baby she'd dress in a kangaroo onesie and carry around in a little pouch around her chest. The pint-sized little troublemaker she picked bee stingers and thorns out of whenever my outside adventures went wrong. The angsty teenager she talked through her first breakup, and her second, and so on. The young woman she watched grow up and raised to be the best that she could be. I love my wife, and I love my friends, but at my core, my parents have always been and always will be what drives me to go above and beyond just to make them proud. But when shit hit the fan, I couldn't bear to see her. I couldn't bring myself to be a burden on her, my dad, my wife, or any of my friends. I don't know what hurt me more. The fact I let myself down or the fact I let them down. I pride myself on being fearless. But I didn't have an ounce of courage when it came to even the thought of facing my loved ones again after everything I had done. But when I read that message from my mom, it felt like a million years before I brought myself to push the call button on that phone. Ring, ring, ring. 3 rings. 3 rings is all it took before I could hear my mom's voice ask me where I was. At that moment, it felt like someone just sucked all the saliva out of my mouth. It went from wet, dry world to shifting sandland in the matter of 3 rings and 3 words. Honestly, I don't know how, but I got the words out to tell her where I was. And just like that, at the same time it took for those 3 rings to sound and those 3 words to be spoken, she was in my room in a bright plume of purple light. 1 step, 2 steps, 3. That's all it took for her to stride over to my bed and lift me up as easily as it was nearly 20 years ago when I was just a baby. She hugged me to her chest, a grip as tight as a vice. The kind of grip you give something you fear may fall away from you when you hold it even the smallest bit looser. And for one of the rare moments in my entire life, I heard my mother cry. Hearing her usually snarky voice crackle and shatter into sobs, it wasn't long before I joined her. We sat there for hours and she listened to me. Every moment of sadness, of anger, of regret, of shame, of hate, she listened to it all and comforted me. She spoke honestly to me, whether it was something I wanted to hear or didn't want to hear. And she told me something that changed my entire outlook on life. She told me how truly loved I was, but all the toxicity in my life, it was blinding me from that. That if I wanted to be happy, I needed to take time to myself, to make myself happy. I didn't need anyone's validation but my own. Hell, when has Lodestar Luminous ever gave a damn about what other people think of her? Her words didn't feel forced. Nor did it feel like she was saying all of this out of obligation. No, she spoke from her heart. She spoke from experience. She spoke from a place of love. She meant every word she spoke. And with each word, I felt more and more of myself come back and firmly place itself into the ground to ensure it wouldn't go flying off again. And after hours and hours of just the 2 of us talking, I made my choice. I was coming home. And home I went. I reunited with my family. My real family. My real friends. My real love. The people who didn't need to tell me they loved me and would never leave me, because they showed it each and every day. I returned to VGW and made amends with the women's locker room there. I found my wife and poured my heart out to her, and she did the same for me. I returned to my home to re-find the love that I thought had been so long lost. But the moment I came back from my own self-exile, I got a hero's welcome from friends and family alike. Friends and family who didn't have to tell me they loved me and were my family. They showed me. They proved their worth time and time again and have earned their places in my life, my heart, and my royal flush. Eddie, Robert, Jeremiah, Ivory, Crystalus, Sean, Trisha, Shannon, all of them and many more are the magic and the family I need. They make me happy. They make me smile. They make me into me, and that is all I will ever need. I'm done with the constant misery. I'm done with the constant back and forth. I'm done being directed around like a puppet on a string on how to act, dress, and be. All of it. I'm done with it. There's a saying in life, don't talk about it, be about it. And for the longest time, I have been talking about it. But the time for talk is done. Now's the time to act. And my first act is this. So listen closely to me, Maddox. We had our little laughs on exhilaration, but the fun time is over, Jack. The gloves are coming off and we're turning this bitch into even more of a shoot than it already is. Come Absolution, I'm not coming to sing to anybody. I'm not going to dance for anyone, and I'm certainly not coming to shake my derriere for a soul that isn't my wife. I'm going out there to whip some unlucky SOB's ass, and it just so happened that Mr. Maddox Mirage Howard Goldman got the lucky draw. A lot of people were acting confident that I'd made a bad choice. A lot of people said I was dead meat, like they always do, when someone with more balls than they do plops them right on the table and pulls a gutsy move. And you know what I say to them? Keep doubting me. Go right ahead, 'cause I'm gonna feast off that doubt like it's good pussy and use it as incentive to prove why I'm the best in the world at women's wrestling by once again defying the odds and doing the so-called impossible. Because whether you doubt me or believe in me, the only thing that matters is the fact that I believe in myself, and I know for a damn fact that at Absolution, I'm gonna show the world, and Maddox too, what it means to be the royal blood rebel. So don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years, rocking my peers and putting suckers in fear, making the tears rain down like a monsoon, make the regime go boom, explosions, overpowering over the competition I'm towering, wrecking shop. When I drop these promos, it'll make you call the cops. So don't you dare stare. You're gonna move. Don't ever compare me to the rest. That'll all get sliced and diced. Mirage is paying the price. 'Cause come Absolution, Murray, I'm knocking your ass out. Because just how it took 3 rings for my mother to come pick up her phone and 3 steps for her to bring me into her embrace, all it takes is the count of 3 from that referee to put you down. Once and for all.